Have you found yourself thinking a phrase or saying something that comes directly from your parents' mouth? And it's funny because as a child, you think to yourself, I'm never going to be like my parents, or I'm never going to do things this way or that way. And then when you become into adulthood, somehow those phrases or those things that they've said, they're just kind of show up. And this is actually why our money mindset is directly impacted by the way that you were raised. So, as part of my Lemon Money series, I'm diving into some of the, I guess, internal thoughts that we kind of create for ourselves that are derived from our parents. And I went out and I interviewed a bunch of people and just kind of got a sense of what their belief systems were and asked them various questions on how they think those beliefs have impacted the way that they think and react today. So let's dive into the first clip.
When I was younger, I would spend a lot of money because I just thought it would keep coming, but it doesn't just keep coming. You have to work for it.
Now, this is a typical realization from someone who maybe was provided for on a regular basis and now is realizing the value of money. So I kind of have a phrase for this. This is called the forever flow myth, right? The money is always going to be flowing. And because you've had yourself catered to for a long time throughout your childhood, whether that be in sports, whether that be in university, or there's lots of different times when our parents kind of come to the rescue, right, and save us and provide for us. So that idea of the forever flow happening is a common myth. And what that myth does is it creates this subconscious that money just replenishes itself. It is abundant and flowing. Now, it's probably good to have those ideals, but the problem is that where is it flowing from? Is it flowing from someone giving you a handout, or is it flowing from the hard work and perseverance of yourself? And I think this is where the transition kind of happens from childhood to adulthood, that, oh, wait, it's a realization that actually I'm going to have to do some work in order to obtain that flow that they're used to. So now this is very different than someone who has been kind of born into a scarcity mindset, right? This is someone who is perhaps not seeing financial struggle, or the parents protect them from seeing that financial struggle. Now that's a key point too, because again, and I'm guilty of it, don't get me wrong, but as a parent you want to provide for your kids, and you want to make it easier than you had it yourself. So I think this is a generational trap that we kind of fall into, and I don't think that it always works out in the way that we thought it was going to. Now I'll just give you an example. So I guess my childhood growing up, my parents tried to provide the best that they could. And as a teenager, you're in school, you want to like dress a certain way and maybe have some of the same kind of designer brands that your friends have. And for example, I would probably want some Levi's jeans, let's say, and my mom purchased me Lee jeans. To her, it's like, well, these are pretty much the same. But of course, we all know they're not. But so I have that mindset. Or another one was in my early childhood, I wanted a Cabbage Patch doll. It was all the rage at the time, and I know I'm aging myself right now, but I really wanted one, and then didn't get one at Christmas. It was a super, I think my mom did try, to be honest with you, to give her all fairness. I think she did try to get one for me, but I didn't end up getting one. And those are the things unfortunately, they stick in your mind, right? As a child kind of going into adulthood. So when you have children now, I've been guilty of it. Like they want the designer this and you think, oh, okay. You don't want them to feel that same kind of either shame or not being able to have. And so you go ahead and you purchase them those things. Or the trendy item comes up and you go ahead and you purchase them those things. I think I've seen little reels where they'll say the mom is walking out with Walmart clothing and the daughter is walking with Lululemon clothing, right? It's just kind of interesting how we will put ourselves second to make sure that our kids have what it is they quote unquote need. But again, it's that subconscious that was developed early on when we just thought that money was abundant and always flowing and then always available. And so we kind of protect our kids from seeing that it actually isn't that way. And unfortunately, we're now creating this other mindset in the eyes or the minds of our young people, that now they think that money may grow on trees. So I call it the forever flow myth. Okay, so in the next clip, okay, why don't you just watch it?
The little things add up. So even if it's like a bottle of water, it's like a few cents more expensive than usual. You keep purchasing it, like it's really gonna get back at you.
All right, so the little things add up. They all of a sudden, again, we're coming to a realization that things are not just easy to obtain, and they do add up over time. Now, what I'd like to call this is micro leak spending. Okay, micro leak spending. So what that is it's habitual spending that compounds over time. So, it's not about the water bottles, okay? It's just this habit that, hey, I think I remember when, and again, oh my goodness, I keep aging myself. But I remember when they start to bottle water and they charge you for it. And I was like, I am not paying for water. Like, that's just ridiculous, right? You have a Brita filter. Why are you paying for water? And it's kind of funny because as time passes, you change. And now I'm like a water connoisseur. Like, I don't like certain waters that are filtered a certain way. I like spring water better than this water. And I'm like, who have I become? Before I just would never buy it and put a dime to pay for water. And so again, this is what I'm calling micro leak spending, where you have this unconscious repetition pattern, right? You feel like water. Instead of going to maybe bringing your water bowl, or you forgot your water bottle, you just go ahead and you purchase it without even thought of the cost. And we talk about spending and how that has an impact on our lives. And I don't think buying a bottle of water is going to have a huge impact. So it's not something that we really need to be super concerned about. But what I'm saying is, it's the unconscious repetition, right? We don't even realize it of what's happening. And this can be applied to, let's say, coffee, right? Coffee, it depends on where you buy your coffee, right? You can range from $3 right up into $10 and what type of coffee you have. But if you think about the unconscious repetition of that and what that habit actually is doing to your finances, it has an impact, right? Whether you want that impact or not, it does have an impact on what you're spending. So what I want you to think about is, what kind of expenses do you have on autopilot, right? Are you buying without thinking? Now again, another interesting point about this is that we are set up this way. We kind of got set up. We buy on Amazon. Amazon has made things so easy. 1-day turnaround, same day turnaround. And so you can buy without that thought process even happening, right? You'll say to yourself, oh, I really need some erasers. And the time it takes you to get in your car, take the bus or whatever to Walmart to pick up a pack of erasers, it's a lot. It's kind of like a headache to actually go do that. But how easy is it to just pick up my phone, go on Amazon, purchase some erasers, and it's going to be here either today or tomorrow, right? But the key to that is, okay, the erasers is something that you need, but maybe you're going to tag on something else in the Amazon cart, or they've recommended something to you, and you're like, oh wait, I did need that as well. And then all of a sudden, instead of just buying the erasers, you've added and added and added to your cart, and you're spending a lot more without thinking. So that's what I mean by financial autopilot. You're making decisions without actually thinking about them first. And then the second thing we got to think about when we think about financial autopilot is it because it's comforting? Are we purchasing things because they are comforting, or are we purchasing because we really need them, right? We can talk about coffee, whether or not it's a necessity or a comfort thing, but there are other things in life that we actually fall into this category as well. So I really want you to think about what is on autopilot when it comes to your finances. All right, so next up we have another clip. Let's listen.
Really responsible with their money. They have like a lot of self-control.
Do you see yourself reflecting those in your life?
Absolutely not. I'm the exact opposite. I can't hold on to any money.
Okay, so this one, we're understanding that there's a realization happening. Yes, my parents are super responsible, but I am not. And what does that kind of tell us, right? They understand the psychology, they understand why their parents were the way they were, but that they are nothing like that. And that could be what I call money rebellion. And it's not it's not something like negative. We are just rebelling because we don't want to be like our parents, right? We don't want to see that restrictive behavior in our lives, right? So we go the opposite way. We decide, hey, what? No, I'm not going to be super responsible or save all my money. I'm just going to live life, right? And it also is in form of independence. People want independence. I mean, young adults, they want independence. They want to kind of forge their own path. And I think that it's good in that sense that they are making their own choices and they're kind of trial and error, right? You realize that this pattern that I'm doing, maybe it doesn't work as well. And maybe I kind of have to look at what my parents were doing after all, right? So that money rebellion may just come back around and bite them. But again, I don't think it's a bad thing to kind of go ahead and determine your own personality when it comes to money. You don't need to mimic your parents 24/7 in every decision that you make. I think it's important to learn lessons sometimes the hard way, and because they stick a lot better than, and then you hear the voice, right, that comes out in your head saying, what I tried to tell you. Sometimes that's how we define ourselves, in the opposition. All right, let's take a look at this particular clip.
I feel very grateful that obviously that they've spent so much money on me, and I feel like I like kind of want to repay them back.
This is interesting as well. Again, it's the realization of what the parents have done for the young adult and the gratitude that they express. And that gratitude is going to change in the way that their behavior is. So this one I like to call the financial obligation energy, right? This is where that feeling of obligation, they're grateful for what their parents have done, and now they're using that as energy in the way that they conduct their own lives. So one, they feel a little bit indebted, and nothing wrong with that. And two, they feel a little bit of pressure to make it worth it. Is it worth it what I'm doing right now? Because I know that my parents are backing me. And then on the flip side, it may end up that they end up overspending because of the appreciation that they want to show back to their parents as well. And they overwork, they overcompensate for that. Now, again, I can take this example in my own life because I have 2 children that went through university where my husband and I paid for all the costs associated with that. And I do think that they are grateful. I don't think they're not grateful for the time and the money that we invested in them. And at times I remember them thinking to themselves, oh, should I purchase that or do I really need that? They'd kind of second guess sometimes when they would make purchases or spend money because they know that their parents are hard workers and money doesn't just grow on trees, and that they have some kind of realization and gratitude for what it is that we've invested in them. Hello! Okay, so this is the child that...
Oh, it's recording!
Yes, that's right! Wow. I might keep that part. Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, there she is, right? The one that cost me a little bit as she's going to school, but I think she does have the appreciation and gratitude for what you've done for them. As they're becoming young adults, they realize that they don't just spend money, right? There's an emotional weight that comes with it. All right, so let's look at one more. Now this one I actually do appreciate because here they're recognizing where they lack financial education. And that is the first step to anything. If there's anything that I say for the clients that I service is that you recognize that there is a problem and now you're doing something to fix it. And I think that is huge when it comes to your money mindset, because just kind of pushing forward and thinking that You can make change on your own without really making those changes, right? There's a problem, but you're just not making the changes. That can lead to a lot of debt. It can lead to poor credit scores, so many things, right? It's a matter of stopping, recognizing that there's a problem, and then finding help and solutions to correct that problem. And information is like everywhere now these days, right? We have podcasts, we have YouTube, we have personal coaching like myself. We have so many things that can help us to make better choices and really not and avoid some of the big downturns when it comes to our financial position. So some of the things that they identified is that there had lack of strategy when it comes to their money. What do I actually do with it when I earn it? They didn't have a framework to actually put that money into, right? Otherwise called sometimes a budget. But really what they had is just reactions, right? The money comes in, I react and I do something. As opposed to having a system in place to say, okay, this is what my ultimate goal is. Let's put it into a system where that money's always doing the same things, and eventually I'm getting closer and closer to a goal, right? So that is where strategy comes in. We don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. Money in, money out. We want a strategy and a system in place so that our money can be allocated in a certain manner that we are actually creeping closer and closer to a particular goal. So in this case, I would say that if people are a little bit anxious when it comes to money, it's really not about the amount of money that you make, but it's the system that you create behind it. Okay, so when you take all of these interviews and their perspectives, and for the most part, these were young adults, what do you think they're going to be like in their early adulthood, where they're entering relationships, they're getting married, they're bringing in their past behaviors, their past teachings, their past reactions to money and bringing them into a relationship? So what do you think is going to happen when you blend two different upbringings, two different personalities, right? What we don't want is a belief collision. And I created a fun game actually, and I'll put a link in the bio as well. It's just a love and money game. So if you have a partner, it's something that you can do on a date night, and it's just some questions, easy questions that you can answer, and you can hear the different person's perspective on what they think about money and how they were raised. And it could really be eye-opening, and there's a fun pop quiz. It really is light, but it's just to really start the conversation. So grab the link below and just play that game with your partner once a month and get to know each other and the way that their money beliefs kind of enter into their own personal money story. So I'd like you to answer some questions now, and I will put them in the notes as well. But what is one money belief that you inherited that you see kind of passing down through your life? And are you repeating that habit or belief, or are you rebelling against it? And then finally, do you manage money with a strategy, or do you manage it with reaction without a system in place? So that is our second episode from the Love and Money series. I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So make sure to subscribe and comment below, and we'll continue this discussion. Bye.